You've been praying for the same thing for months, maybe years, and it hasn't come. And somewhere, in a place you don't say out loud, you're starting to wonder if God is punishing you. He's not. But what He is doing is something that will only make sense when you can finally see what He was protecting you from. And in the next few minutes, I want to show you exactly what that looks like. Not in theory, not in a sermon, but in the specific way it shows up, in the middle of the life you're actually living. There is a particular kind of pain that only people of faith know. It's not just the pain of the hard season itself. It's the confusion on top of the pain. The feeling that if God loved you, really loved you, this wouldn't be happening. And so when He stays silent, when the prayer goes unanswered, when the door stays closed, the mind goes to a place it shouldn't. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe God is punishing me for the version of myself I used to be. And I need you to hear this, slowly, because it is one of the most important things you will ever understand about God. Silence is not punishment. Delay is not rejection. A closed door is not abandonment. Those are the lies that feel most true in the hardest seasons, and they are wrong. Think about it this way. Imagine you're walking towards something you want desperately, a relationship, a job, a door opening in your life, and there is a wall in your way. You can't see past it. You don't know why it's there. All you know is you were going somewhere and now you can't. From where you're standing, the wall looks like punishment. It looks like God saying no to your future. But what if, on the other side of that wall, there is something that would have destroyed you? A relationship that looked like love, but would have slowly emptied you. A yes that came too early, before you were actually ready to hold it. What if the wall wasn't God's way of stopping you, but God's way of shielding you from something you couldn't see coming? The wall isn't punishment. The wall is protection. And the only reason it feels like punishment is that you can't see what's on the other side. There's a woman in Scripture that I think about every time I feel like God has forgotten me. Her name is Ruth. By the time we meet her, she has lost her husband. She has left her country. She has nothing, no money, no status, no plan. And she's picking up leftover grain from a field just to survive. From the outside, that looks like a woman God has abandoned. But read the whole story. That field belonged to a man named Boaz. And the moment Ruth walked into that field, God had already been arranging something she couldn't see yet. She thought she was just surviving. God was preparing her for the most important chapter of her life. The hardest season Ruth ever lived through was the doorway to the greatest blessing she ever received. And I wonder if that's exactly where you are right now. Stay with me, because what I want to tell you next is the part that nobody says in church. The part about what God is actually doing in the specific season you're in right now, and why the thing you've been praying for may be coming in a form you didn't think to ask for. When God delays the answer to your prayer, He is almost always doing one of three things. First, He is protecting you from an outcome that looks good to you, but would not be good for you. You were praying for that relationship. God could see what was inside that person that you couldn't see yet. You were praying for that opportunity. God knew that accepting it right then would have pulled you away from the thing He was preparing you for. Second, He is developing something in you that the answer to your prayer requires. The version of you who needs to receive that blessing isn't fully formed yet. And God, in His kindness, is not going to give you something before you are ready to hold it. Not because you're not good enough, but because He is too committed to your future to rush the process. And third, and this is the one that will change how you pray, sometimes God is not withholding the thing you asked for. He is preparing something better, something your pain, your waiting, your empty hands are creating the capacity to receive. You cannot hold what you haven't been stretched to carry. The delay is the preparation. So here is what I want to give you today. Not advice, not another thing to do. Permission. Permission to stop carrying the weight of what God hasn't done yet, as if it's evidence of what He thinks of you. It's not. His silence is not His verdict on your worth. His not yet is not a never. His closed door is not proof that you were wrong to ask. He saw you before you formed the prayer. He is with you inside the waiting. And He is already moving in the places you cannot see. If this video reached you today, I don't think that was an accident. This channel exists for the tired woman, tired of praying and not seeing, tired of believing and feeling nothing, tired of holding on, but still holding on. If that's you, there is a place for you here. New videos every week on faith, on God's timing, on what He sees in you when you can barely see yourself. Subscribe if you want to keep coming back. And if someone you love is in a hard season right now, share this with them. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is send someone a reminder that they haven't been forgotten. God saw what you couldn't see yet, and He hasn't stopped watching.